Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. It is Monday, and I'm here this morning with Judge Joel Stevens. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, make sure you talk right into that microphone.
All right, will do.
Okay. You are a judge, and it's funny. Right before we went on, I said, we should explain what you do as a judge, because I think when people hear judge, they think Judge Judy, who is not really even a judge. Is it a mediator, arbitrator?
She does have a judicial background.
Yes,
and she... There's a lot of, TV drama added to that whole process. It's very different if you come to my court.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you're not telling people they're idiots.
No, I'm not.
So let's talk about the kind of court that you run. Is that the right word for it?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
I'm the county judge for Tillamook, which is Justice of the Peace. I was elected to a 6-year term, 4 years into that now.
That's a long term.
It is, yeah.
Is that normal?
For judges in Oregon, yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. Circuit court's the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Their judges are elected to 6-year terms. And I think that's because judges need to be more removed from the political process.
Mm-hmm.
So we only have to run every 6 years.
Gotcha. So your type of court, you just mentioned circuit court. That's not your justice court. So what's the difference between the two?
Circuit court, state court, and I'm county court.
Okay.
I worked as a pro tem, which is a part-time judge in state court for. I did a 3-year term down there, and we handle the more serious criminal offenses in state court. A lot of your family law stuff goes through there. In my court, which is county court, we handle a wide variety of things. A lot of your ordinance violations, wildlife offenses, traffic violations, landlord-tenant disputes, small claims matters, which are civil disputes that are at or under $10,000 in value.
Gotcha.
Which in a county like Tillamook, that's a lot of the civil disputes.
Yeah.
Small contract stuff, purchase agreements, things like that. So, wide variety of things.
Yeah, I'm sure. Probably not ever a dull day.
Nope.
Something different. Do you have court No, there's not court every day.
Well, typically we have things on the docket every day.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Tuesday and Thursday are our big arraignment, which is first appearance days. Mm-hmm. So, it gets pretty busy on Tuesday and Thursdays for sure. But we have trials, hearings, things like that scheduled pretty much every day. I think I've got 3 or 4 things on the docket this afternoon.
Wow. Okay.
And we do a lot of, which is something I really enjoy, we do a lot of cases involving juveniles too. Uh-huh. So, working with kids that are maybe, made a bad decision, trying to get them back on track through education and accountability.
Sure.
We deal with a lot of, I set up a truancy court, which was the first one in the county. I'm very proud of it to help get kids back on track with school. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We also deal with a lot of the alcohol and drug offenses with minors, and we just launched a pilot program, actually, a teen justice program that it's grant funded. Marie Heimberg carries most of the load on that. She's done a great job. We're just kind of we're still in the pilot stage right now, but it's really targeting, trying to decrease recidivism through education and accountability with young people.
Cool.
And specifically related to drug and alcohol offenses. So putting them in touch with resources, trying to educate them, and just kind of get them back on track with school. So there aren't more serious issues down the line.
So it's not, it says juvenile peer, well, your note here that you sent to us said juvenile peer court. So are there peers involved with the jury or something like that?
And that's one of the kind of revolutionary aspects of this program.
Because I think that's kind of a big thing. Like, I feel like kids are talked to so much and disciplined, I'm making air quotes, from adults to have some type of sentencing or I don't know if that's the right word, but handed over from a peer might be a little bit different.
It is, and I think it carries more weight sometimes. Yeah. If you hear something from one of your classmates and peers versus, the grumpy judge,
right?
That can carry a lot of weight. Uh-huh. And I suspect that me and Ms. Heimberg, once we kind of get this fully implemented, we'll probably be back to visit with you and go through more of the details of this. But
is she with the school district or is she in your office?
She works with the juvenile department. Uh-huh. And she also manages, we have a mediation program where we offer anybody who comes to our small claims court who's having a civil dispute, we offer them mediation services to try and resolve that before a trial.
Sure.
And she runs that program for us.
Okay.
She also helps with some of the truancy cases, if there's problems between the youth and the parents, stuff like that. She'll help mediate that. And she's working with this program where kids who go through the program, once they successfully complete it, they will actually come back and help mentor new kids that are coming into the program.
Yeah.
So
that's
it's
really cool.
it's an exciting program.
So how like the teen justice panel, like how is that? Because you're in the pilot stage of like trying to figure it out now,
Correct.
right? So how do you see that working with the peer involvement?
Well, there'll be a judicial element to it. I still think that part of the process is important to kind of have that structure and accountability.
Sure.
But a lot of it will be young people who have went through the program before and been trained in the process, and who have maybe had an issue with drugs or alcohol before, and now things are back on track. They're doing good in school again, all those things. They've hit all the benchmarks we want them to hit. So now they're going to come back and help mentor and help educate, but also, provide accountability for the new kids that are coming through the program.
Sure. Is there, do you see a lot of juveniles come through your court?
Yes. Yeah, we have, between...
Is it more, I don't know. Have you worked in any other court system before?
I have. I was a prosecutor, both in Marion County and here in Tillamook in the past. So
I'm just curious if there's more or less, or if it's about the same percentage. I don't know. I don't even know if you know that.
It's probably about the same. But I do think our truancy court, we've had some real good success stories over the years with kids that were really struggling in school for various reasons, and to see them get back on track, graduate, move on to the workforce or college, either one. Those are kind of the successes that
and truancy
make the
court,
job worthwhile.
They've missed too much school, like they're not right. Isn't that what truant means? That you're missing school?
Yeah, basically their parents get cited for a truancy violation because the kids aren't going to school.
Gotcha.
And sometimes it's more the parent issue. Sometimes it's more the kid just not going. So we try to bring everybody together: the kids, the parents, the teachers, local community resources if needed, and just come up with a solution tailored to that individual kid. It does. Yeah,
for sure. I'm going to take a quick break, and we're going to talk about Roby's. You don't buy furniture every day, so it just makes sense that when you do invest in that new sofa or recliner that you're paying the best price possible. The same goes for that mattress or your refrigerator. At Roby's Furniture and Appliance, you'll find the top name brands: Maytag, Frigidaire, La-Z-Boy, Lane Simmons, Tempur-Pedic, and more, all under one roof and all at low, low prices. Roby's offers high volume pricing and selection with small town service and a smile. They have something in every price range and every taste. And don't forget, Roby's offers free delivery to veterans and active duty military. See them right now for great savings, serving the folks who call the coast home. Roby's Furniture and Appliance, Astoria, Tillamook, Lincoln City, Newport, and Florence. So I'm here this morning with Judge Joel Stevens, and we were just talking about, that sounds like a really cool program. Is that a program that's available in other counties, or
a truancy court?
No, the teen justice program.
Yes, we're not the first county to implement it. I think we got a grant that's helped funding the program, and there is some flexibility as far as how it's structured. So I think we're going to try and find a process that works good for us and our kids. Sure. But I know that there have been some other counties that have had some real success with it.
That's great. And you can always, take what they learned that worked good and what didn't work good and make it your own.
Absolutely.
Awesome. One of the other things that you had on your list here of things that we want to talk about, do you see a lot of driving while suspended cases?
I do, unfortunately.
I thought that was funny that was a line on there. I thought, well, he must see a lot of those.
I do, unfortunately. And, the bigger concern, I would say the bigger concern with driving while suspended is it also typically includes somebody driving with no insurance.
Yep.
And that's just really not fair to everybody else out on the road, because if somebody's driving around without insurance and they're involved in an accident, it really puts the other people in a really bad situation. Right. And if you drive with a suspended license, most insurance companies, understandably, are not going to want to cover you.
Sure, that makes absolute sense.
But my goal is getting people to have valid insurance and thus a valid license. So, somebody who maybe has a suspended license and they've had it for a while, but, they're making a good faith effort to get things back on track, to get reinstated, I would encourage them to write me a letter. I've had several people who, some of them had not had their licenses in many years. They wrote me a letter. We scheduled a court appearance. They came in. We talked. We figured out a plan for, what they needed to do. And I temporarily reinstated their license to give them an opportunity to demonstrate that they were serious about this. Somebody who's just ignoring the law and continuing to drive while suspended and just racking up the violations, I'm not going to work with that person.
Yeah,
but somebody who's making an effort and, they're willing to get their license and, they're working, they're making progress on whatever the issue was that had them suspended. I would encourage that person to...
Could be anything, really, right?
It could.
Because, could you, if you have a ticket that you didn't pay, would that maybe result in a suspension of a license?
Yes. Not paying a ticket, missing court, not paying child support, certain criminal convictions.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it is really a lot of things.
DMV can suspend your license for a variety of reasons, like if you get several tickets in a short period of time. So it's a variety of issues. But where people get in trouble is they get suspended and then they don't follow the law. They just keep driving.
Right. Thinking they're not going to get caught.
Often without insurance.
Right.
And it just kind of snowballs. So, I would encourage people who are trying to get out of that situation, to write me a letter and let's figure out what we need to do to get them insured.
Right.
And, because it can make it hard to maintain a job. And, I don't want to see anybody lose their job over something like this. So if they're working and making a good faith effort, then, I like to help out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that snowballing real quick. You just accidentally rear end somebody or, and you don't have insurance. And, that just, you could lose your car
puts the other person in a horrible position.
Because then they're on the hook for the whole thing.
Correct.
Yep. Yeah. So what if they wanted to send you a letter? Would they just send it to the courthouse?
Yep, 201 Laurel Avenue, Justice Court. All
right, there you go. If you're interested, and there's a new. Speaking of, justice, criminal justice. Are you involved with the criminal justice program at TBCC?
Yes, I've been an adjunct instructor out there for 5 or 6 years now, probably.
That's really, Connie's been in a couple times talking about, especially at the beginning of the year, or over the summer, talking about the new criminal justice program and how it's really been revitalized and kind of expanded to cover more than just, I think before it was just corrections, mostly. Yeah. And so now it covers a greater variety of things, especially because we here have such a variety of law enforcement areas, I guess, because there's marine and wildlife and corrections, and then obviously patrol and all those things. So are you doing wildlife law? Is that what you're...
That'll be my class next term.
Cool. That's fun.
It's one of my favorite to teach. I was a wildlife prosecutor when I was in the district attorney's office. Most of the wildlife offenses committed in the county now come through my court. And, we have a fish and game division of the Oregon State Police here. We have deputies that are specifically assigned to our rivers and forests. So there's real opportunities, for students in those fields. And it's just a fun class. That'll be my spring term class. I try to only teach one class a term just because of time constraints, but being a part of that revamping of the criminal justice curriculum was a real exciting process, and I think we've really improved the quality of education we can give our students. I mean, if they really want to bear down and apply themselves, they can come out with an associate's degree in 2 years or less. In most circumstances, there's a lot of hiring opportunities now in criminal justice around the country. So it's an exciting time to be to be part of that process. And I think one of the other things I really like, most of our instructors in the criminal justice program are adjuncts like myself, so they're actually working in the fields they teach. So it's a real good opportunity for our students to network and to get some, real practical experience about what it's like to work in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually something I was thinking about while you were talking. It's really cool that the college has pulled local people that are doing those jobs in this community in to help teach. And I mean, if you want to get a job here, what better way to, get that information and get that education than someone who's doing that job now?
I agree. It really helps. And I, was able to give some input in some of the hiring of adjuncts since I came on board. And, that's one of the primary things I'm looking for is someone with real experience in the field that they can bring to the classroom. But the other thing is you got to be a good teacher.
Right.
And, having went through undergrad and, while I was getting my doctorate as well, some of my best and worst instructors were adjuncts. Because some of them are very knowledgeable in their field.
And they're good at their job.
They're great at their job, but they have no idea how to teach.
Right.
So one thing I've really tried to emphasize with, who we bring in as adjuncts is, they're really good at their job. They're really knowledgeable, but I also know they're good teachers. And, some of them I've taught with in other contexts, including, teaching classes to already sworn law enforcement officers when I was a prosecutor. And I've worked with these people and I know they can teach. So I think we offer a really good product, and I would encourage, students who are thinking about criminal justice, or if they just need an elective and they think it might be interesting, check it out.
Dip your toe in the water, for sure. Were you in that video that TBCC put out?
I was.
Okay, we'll have to go back and look for it.
Yeah.
I know I saw Paul and some other people I knew in there, but
yeah, they did a good job.
Yeah, it was a really good video. I'm going to take a quick break, and I thought maybe we could talk about your background a little bit.
Sounds good.
Have you always wanted to be in law? Like, was that as a lawyer or a judge or?
Oh, I probably changed my major 3 or 4 times my first couple of years of college.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. Let's see. The 2017 Lincoln MKZ has arrived with outer beauty and inner strength. The exhilarating new Lincoln MKZ is efficiency in its most elegant form. Every model in the lineup has a long list of standard features along with interesting options such as hybrid power or a 400 horsepower turbocharged V6. On the move, it's surprisingly sporty. Drive one today at Tillamook Motor Company on the friendly corner of 5th and Main in downtown Tillamook. Tillamook Motor Company, a better place to do business. So when you were growing... Oh, sorry, we're talking with Judge Joel Stevens this morning. When you were growing up and everyone asked you what you wanted to be, what was your answer?
I didn't really know at that point.
Which I think nobody does. I think it's not a fair question to ask,
I bet some people that...
Even like a teenager,
that knew, but...
I'm 37. Sometimes I still don't know what I want to do. I used to say that all the time. Like, I don't know.
Well, I grew up in a very rural part of the South. And, I was a first-generation college student. The town we grew up in was very impoverished and... we were poor. Everybody there was poor. And I just wasn't around anybody who really went to college or it was an attorney or anything like that. But once I started going to college, that kind of, opened some doors.
Oh, sure.
And I kind of viewed, I kind of had two plans for how to kind of get out of that, generational cycle of poverty. And for me, it was either going to be the military or education. And initially, I went the education route because I got some scholarships. But now I've been, real honored to be able to also pursue the military side. And
yeah, that's awesome.
And for a lot of young people, I think that's a great opportunity.
Yeah. Speaking of the military, you're going away for a little bit for training.
I am. I just found out that the Oregon National Guard is sending me to San Diego for some training.
We'll try to call in some good weather for you down there.
That would be good.
Yeah.
That would be good. It's only about 4 days, but should be a great experience. I think some of the officers that I went through boot camp, well, the officer version of boot camp, and through my judge advocate training, I think they're going to be there. So it'll be like a
fun.
little class reunion.
Yeah, fun. So what made you want to be a lawyer? Because that's what you started out being, a prosecutor, right? Is that what you said?
Correct. And well, I clerked at a prosecutor's office when I was going to law school at Willamette, and then I started in private practice at a real good firm over in Corvallis, and we did a wide variety of things: criminal defense, family law, civil litigation. But early in my career, I really liked being in the courtroom, and being a prosecutor is a great way to do that. You're in court, arguing motions and trials and stuff pretty much every day.
Right.
So I came out here and worked for our DA's office for about 5 years, and then ran for judge.
And is typically, I'm not super great with law. I do watch People's Court every day, though. But that's, like I said, that's not real court. It's like arbitration or something.
Not completely accurate,
yeah.
but yeah.
But I have learned things from there. Always get things in writing. Always get it in writing.
Yes. Yes. So many of the civil cases I have are handshake deals,
right?
Often between
verbal contract,
between now former friends,
right?
And it's really unfortunate to see the way things can deteriorate like that. So even with friends, get it in writing.
Well,
it helps everybody.
Those are the best people to get it in writing, because then you don't lose your friendship over it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh shoot, I totally forgot where I was going with that now. Oh, prosecutor. They're the ones, like, from the state or the county or the city, right? They're not, the defense attorney is the private person?
Correct.
Like
so
private lawyer?
The defense attorneys, you can be a retained attorney, which is what I did when I was at a firm in Corvallis, where we only took cases where the clients hired us.
Right.
There are also attorneys that are appointed by the court for those
yes.
who can't afford to retain their own attorney. So they typically work on a contract basis with the court, and we have several real good attorneys here in Tillamook that do that, and they're very busy, but they do a real good job.
And so being in the courtroom, and as a prosecutor or as an attorney, and then now as a judge, how did that transition happen? Like, did somebody say, hey, you want to try out being a judge? Or did you say, I want to be a judge? I want to sit up there and rule.
Neil Emery, who you probably met, he was retiring. He had announced he wasn't going to run again. And I just thought being a judge would be,
It's kind of the next step, seems like.
It would be a real good, it'd be another way to serve in a different capacity, and just try something, different. And, I thought I had a pretty good temperament for it. So I ran, and I guess the voters were okay with it, so it worked out.
So is this, you said there's a 6-year term. Is this your first term being a judge?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
We have just a few minutes left. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about? I mean, there's other things on here, but I wanted to make sure. I see you have a list too, and I wasn't sure if it was the same. Is it the same list?
It probably is.
What was the Tillamook Stand Down event? Did you go participate in that?
Yes, I actually got put on orders through my unit with the National Guard, so I was able to help out. One of the things I do for soldiers as a judge advocate is I supervise a legal assistance office. So on drill weekends, I'm running this legal assistance office over in Salem, and we help soldiers with a variety of issues. Wills, if a debt collector is harassing them, if a landlord is not treating them fairly because they have to go active duty or something like that. There's a variety of rights that service members have that sometimes the general public isn't always aware that they have.
Right.
So, I help the service member, help educate employers or landlords or debt collectors about the rights that those service members have, powers of attorney, wills, again, all that kind of stuff. So I was able to provide some of those legal services at the Stand Down event, which we've had the last 2 years out at the fairgrounds, and it's always sad to see how many homeless veterans we have in the community, but I think the more we can do to help that, and hopefully get them back on their feet, the better. And Bill Hatton, who you've also probably met, he does a great job working with our veterans, and really cares, and it's been an honor to work with him. And the Stand Down was just a real exciting opportunity to help vets right here in our community.
Yeah. Knowing the legal and, some, like you were saying, debt collectors and things like that, sometimes they don't go about things the real kosher way of
Correct.
trying to collect debt. And if you're not a lawyer, you don't know the law, you don't look into it, how would you know that, them harassing you is not okay?
Exactly.
So that's cool. That's a really awesome service. Now, remind me when the stand down event is, because Bill was in here talking about the Veterans Day services that they had out at the port.
Also a wonderful program. He did an amazing job with that too.
But the stand down is different.
It is. We had it, I want to say it was on a Friday in September this past year. And, so much great participation from local businesses, local community leaders, coming out there. I know Mr. Hurleman was there, helping with insurance questions and issues, and just talking with vets about questions they have. He volunteers his time there every year. I just saw a lot of great people there, and
yeah, Bill's great at pulling people together, and he has so many resources and things like that.
He is. Yeah, he absolutely is.
Great. Cool. That's a really, really awesome thing. I think we are just about out of time. Do you want to plug Driving While Suspended again? You want to talk about that just for a brief second and tell people to mail you a letter?
Well, I would love to see less of those coming through my court. And I know there's talks in Salem about legislation to kind of
crack down on it?
Well, yeah, potentially make it a more serious offense because it is a problem in a lot of communities.
If you're cited for driving while suspended, can you lose your car? Like, can they impound your car?
In some circumstances, yes.
Okay.
Yes, so it's better to just, not put yourself in that situation in the first place. But, I understand sometimes people kind of feel like, it's hard to get out of that hole.
Right.
And, and if they have a job, they want to keep it.
Right. And they're a single parent or, they're the only income provider in the family.
Yeah. So, if they're making a genuine effort to correct the issue, then I would like to see them get their license sooner rather than later so they can prove that they have insurance and keep their job, get things back on track. So,
do all the driving while suspended cases come through your court, or are there
most of them?
Do the other state ones?
Yes, but the overwhelming majority come through my court.
Okay, I have 1 minute. But I do have a question that just popped up. Why would a case go through state court versus the county court? Because we have both, right?
We do.
Yeah.
So typically, I handle the violation offenses, and circuit court handles criminal offenses.
Gotcha.
So that's the the biggest difference. Sometimes violation offenses go to circuit court if they're perhaps connected to a criminal offense, but for the most part, circuit court does the criminal offenses. I handle the violations, and driving while suspended tend to be violations.
Gotcha. And criminal offenses are things like robbery,
assault.
Gotcha.
Driving under the influence of intoxicants, all that. Yeah.
Okay. Way more serious ones.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Hey, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
I feel very smart now about the law. I will not go try to be a lawyer, but I feel smarter.
Well, between me and Judge Judy, hopefully.
Yeah, right. No,
helpful.
Judge Marilyn Million. That's who I like to watch.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
all
People's
right.
Court.
I'll have to check that one out.
Yes. Let's see. Tomorrow we'll have someone here talking about Tillamook Comic Con. That should be fun. Don't forget senior meals, 11:30 at St. Mary's by the Sea in Rockaway Beach every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Also noon every weekday at the Cayuwanda Community Center in Pacific City, as well as the Tillamook Senior Center at 4th and Stillwell. Cost is $3 for seniors and $6.75 for everyone else. Tomorrow at 5:30 is TRA's annual meeting at Muddy Waters. That's the Tillamook Revitalization Association. On Friday, Blue Heron is holding their first Friday, which is Foxy Date Night, from 4:30 to 8 at, obviously, the Blue Heron. They'll have a painting class by Vine Go, which I've seen pictures. That looks super fun.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. They'll have R. Stewart Wines there doing 3 for free, and then local favorite serving food, the Fish Peddler, and Joe Raybeck will be there playing music. Maria wanted me to let you know that Friday's Cheesemakers basketball game has been moved from Friday. It's now going to be Saturday at 3 o'clock. You can listen here. And then on Sunday, go watch the big game on 6 screens at Manzanita Lighthouse Pub and Grub. Food and drink specials from 3 You know, it says 3 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'm pretty sure they mean 3 p.m. to 6 p.m.
That's kind of an early start,
Yeah, I know.
even for the big game.
I just copied that directly off of something else, and it said 3 a.m. Yeah. Don't think it's 3 a.m. 3 p.m. Thanks again for coming in today, Joel. That was fun.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thank you, Tillamook, for listening.